Hey everyone, welcome back to Earth to Geek, and today we are looking at the Series 11 NECA Wasp Predator, the latest addition in the Big Red Clan. I'm really excited for this figure. I was stoked when I saw it at San Diego Comic-Con last summer, and NECA, they never fail to amaze and please the fans. As far as the rest of Series 11 go, I have not picked up the Armored Lost or Thermal Dutch, but I'm still considering if I should get the Thermal Dutch. I'm not a big fan of the Wasp Predator, the original or the Armored. I know a lot of people might hate me for saying that, but I just wasn't always into it. And Thermal Dutch is, it's a really interesting figure. I love what NECA did with the paints and the translucent material, but for now I'm just happy I have the Wasp Predator, and let's take a look at the packaging. So as you can see, and sorry about the glare, we're having a little bit of awkward weather in Southern California today, so I'm trying my best to get natural light in here. So you can see the open face packaging as usual, and you can see Big Red as it is the Big Red Clan Predator. You can see all the yellow and black coloring as a wasp would be. At the bottom here, let me see if I can get that, it says Wasp Predator with the usual Predator logo. And then at the bottom shows you over 25 points of articulation, and includes a spear staff with the impaled xenomorph head, which is actually, if you can kind of see, you can see the xenomorph head in the back behind the Predator head. If I can get that. It's kind of hard to see. I actually thought they forgot to put it in the packaging when I first got the package, until I looked and I saw the xenomorph head. And it's better to see it in person, or you can actually kind of see the staff right there. So, and then in the back it shows the bio talking about member of Big Red's clan. I think it's very similar to the other two Big Red characters as well, but this one of course focuses more on Wasp and his bio and the flesh tones and his hunting style. I was a little confused, and a bunch of us on Twitter were actually talking about it too, that Wasp in the Dead End film, Batman Dead End, does not appear to have the staff or any other weapon other than his wrist blades. This has been kind of a conflicting story, or there have been conflicts going on. Nothing major, just as us the fans were trying to figure out who NECA is bringing in, what accessories they're giving to who. But for right now we have Wasp, Big Red, and the Albino, which was the SDCC 2013 exclusive. So on the back you can also see the Thermal Dutch and Armored Lost Predator, as well as Wasp. Let's get this baby opened up and check out the figure. I've opened up the Wasp Predator, and immediately the yellow paint app just stands out to me. I love when NECA creates these figures similar to Big Red with the color scheme that just makes it pop out in anyone's collection. Wasp has that yellow, not too much, not like a neon bright yellow, but it is a brighter yellow that goes very well with the sort of matte black stripes and spots throughout the body, the arms, the legs. Let me just get a zoom in on that. So there you go, you can kind of see a close-up of the body. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be right here. It kind of looks like a factory defect, or maybe a paint defect, but after looking at other reviews and photos, almost all of them have pretty much the same defect or effect you want to put on the body. I'm fine with it. To me it just looks like an epic battle scar. Maybe he was fighting an alien and it just sliced him right in the chest, but it's not that big of a deal. It does kind of have a orangish look to it, not more orange than yellow, but it's not that big of a deal, and I actually like it, so it can be a good little bio addition. And as you can see, the mask, it does have the laser guiding tool, and the black stripes running down the sides and the front, and the decal on the top of the mask. The mask is more of a darker gold yellow, or gold color matte application, but it looks really good. I'm glad they didn't go with the bright yellow mask as well. It worked on the Big Red Predator having the bright red, the same red application to the armor and the mask, but for this guy, it works well having the darker mask on him. So now we'll go to the alien head. So NECA did not skimp on this alien head. I mean, I think they just took one of their regular xenomorph heads and applied this on. It is definitely top heavy. It is an actual head that they probably use on another figure. I don't actually have any alien NECA figures, so I can't really compare, but the detail is amazing. I mean, they did not just put a cheap head on here just as a prop or a, you know, replica kind of thing. Or actually, it is a replica, and you can see all the guts spilling down on the spear. Even at the top, more green blood. And I mean, the spear is just fantastic. That's one of my favorite parts of the Wasp Predator. See if I can get that back in. There we go. I mean, it just looks amazing. Now I'm not going to take it off because, oh, there we go. As you can tell, it is really top heavy, and the wrist joints are really loose. It is kind of hard to pose him, but as long as you open up the hand, you have to pry open the fingers a little bit, and you get it all the way to the top, you are able to get it to stand as long as you put the staff on the ground and almost have him leaning on it, or the staff just leaning on the hand. So I'll show you a little close-up of that. If I can get that into focus. There we go. So you can see there's the grip all along, or the bands all along the staff, except at the bottom and a little bit at the top. I have his hand right above the grips, so it is able to reach to the ground, and they can stand okay with it. And as you can see here, you can see more of the threads. And then the spear is it's actually a really good sized spear, or a knife, whatever you want to call this, the pointy part up here. And you can see all the coils going around it. And then the guts, the predator brains, and all that. There we go, in the focus again, got some light. I mean, they did a fantastic job with this, and they kept the alien appearance, they kept the mouth, they kept the skull size and everything. I mean, they did just a fantastic job on this. I love when the Predators have these kinds of accessories to make them stand out and show off their prize. I want to say this is the first skull accessory, I guess, that I have. And I'm really glad that they come with the Wasp to make him even more badass. So let me see if I can get this out so I can get more of a closer look. I figure I'll just show you guys. Oh, and there we go. It just falls right off. It is kind of hard. There we go. Don't worry about the paint chipping or anything. I've done this a few times, and the paint is really well applied. Just pop that back in. No problem there. So I'll take a closer look at the spear itself. So I can get that into focus. There we go. So you can see the mouth and all the silver applications to the teeth right there. And once again, the brains. There we go. And then the rest of the mold for the head. It really is a top heavy piece, and I mean, it's a good weight. I kind of wish the actual staff was a little bit thicker or a little bit more sturdy, just because of how heavy the top is, but you know, nothing to complain about, and it's just a fantastic accessory. Definitely the biggest staff I have seen any Predator hold, so it's a really good piece to have. So now let's look back at the Predator. So he has the usual wrist blade that it seems to extend or be longer than the usual wrist blade and just pops back in. So, you know, pretty kind of stiff at some points, just have to wiggle that in. And the armor, you know, the usual armor, it does have these new coils that I don't remember too many of the Predators having, but they don't really restrict movement that much. The one thing I did notice, they actually made it so that this arm, the left arm, the shoulder armor moves with the coils, while on the right arm, it the armor doesn't move. It's only the arm right under it. So I thought that was kind of neat. You know, you can make it pose easier, and it'll help you reduce stress on these coils so you don't break them. The only stiff joints that I did notice were the elbows. They are a little bit stiff, you know, not so stiff that you might break them, just stiffer than the rest of the joints on this figure. But you know, you can, twisting them this way is easy, but bending them is a little bit tough. And then you have the articulation at the head, turning them as much as you can, then up and down a little bit, and the shoulders, going the right shoulder, there we go. And you can stick out the right shoulder a little bit more than the left. The left, that's as far as it can actually go. So not too much movement there, but with the other one. And again, the elbows, twisting it. You can twist this a little bit more, but you know, just watch out with this coil. It is, you know, loose, it's not just a stiff plastic. And the wrists really loose on the ball joint. And this one as well. The thighs, nice and loose. You can't really stick them out like some of the other Predators, but you can take them extended pretty far back and up and twist it around. And same with this one. The waist, you have full motion, or at least almost full motion. Don't really need to turn it at 360. The knees, there's actually two joints at the knees too. I actually can't remember if the other ones, I have the other Predators upstairs, but I'm not too sure if they all have this double joint at the knee. One right above the knee, and then one kind of above the shin or under the knee. So I thought that's pretty cool, you know, even more posing for that. And of course, when they say the 25 points of articulation, that's when you know you have all these extra features. And then nothing at the shin, and then the feet, you know, good movement up there, a little bit up and down to the side, and then around. So let's keep looking at all the armors. The legs, the armor kind of goes from the ankle to the top of the knee. Kind of have some sandals on here, nothing around the feet, just at the top. Then you have the thigh pads here. You got the belt with the whatever you want to call this, the groin protector, I guess. And then you have some blue paint apps here for some threads. And in the back you have the covering the lower portion of the back. This is a looser plastic, so you can, when you need to bend the legs, you don't have to worry about this breaking. And then the belt coming around with the pouch over here, and another kind of a pouch over here. You have the wrist blade, the usual silver, dark silver or gray paint app, and the detonator here. You have the armor on one side coming around here, connecting to the left arm, and then coming around to the back. Just lift the head up a little bit. So that's really cool, you know, the usual awesome paint app by NECA. And all the awesome details, you know, these are actually sticking out. They just didn't paint it like some companies will do to make it look like. And oh, look at that, it's actually pretty loose, or not loose, but you know, so you can move it around a little more. I don't know if this is supposed to be glued on, but you know, it doesn't stick out, it does stay on. So that's a good mold they have right there, everything fits good. And then here, the single shoulder pad on this arm. And you can see it wrapping around here, over the shoulder, around the neck. You have the neck coils like usual. And the helmet with, you know, the usual dreads. The dreads have the more of a goldish color to them, so that's pretty cool. And all throughout the figure, you know, you can see the paint, the gold paint, or yellow paint I should say, even on the back of the legs, the feet, the sides of the feet, the hands, at the forearms here, at the arms, the biceps, and all throughout the torso, and even coming up just under the neck at the coils. So you know, it's really cool, and they did paint under the thigh pad, so you know, they didn't just put this to cover up some unpainted areas. And then in the back, it's mostly black, but the little yellow spots. So you know, once again, just an awesome figure. This is probably one of my favorite figures so far that NECA has come out. Actually, my favorite in my collection, because you know, there are some others that are my favorites that are tied for my #1 favorites. I just haven't had the chance to add them to my collection yet. But so far, he will be joining the Albino Predator and Big Red for Big Red's clan. And make sure you guys subscribe to stick around for the next video. Thanks.